It's a teen talk skating podcast where I embarrass myself. Hello, and welcome to episode number 97 of a Teen Talk Skating podcast, which is a very, very crazy number to me. My name is Van Gogh, and I host this very crazy podcast that you are listening to because you are interested in figure skating and all the things happening in the figure skating world that I like to cover. Anywho, Spotify again says I need to tell people to like, share, follow, get your friends to listen. Yay, please do. Because it helps my clout and need for attention, honestly. I'm kidding. Maybe I kind of need attention, I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, I wrote these notes like last week, but these notes say back to school this week was so difficult, which I did go back to school and the week was difficult. I was not kidding, not gonna lie. I was not kidding with these notes that I wrote a week before. I already knew, like, when you already know that the week is going to be tiring, like, you already know you're tired. Like, you're just going to become more tired. And that was literally me this week. It just, like, felt like everything was just colliding. Like, bro, we just came back to school after break. Like, can we not? And every teacher was like, no, we are. And lots of stuff, other stuff too. Anyway, this week was super difficult. But only 3 weeks, and obviously I just finished 1 week, so I only have 2 weeks left. I do have finals and stuff to study for, but then I'm free, and then I get 2 weeks off for winter break, and I'm gonna crash on my bed and watch movies and figure skating and read books and not care what anyone else has to say, and hopefully not care about my grades. But honestly, they're not looking so good this year. I don't know, but I hope you guys are all doing very well. We're getting into the holiday season, and I'm very happy to see all the holiday things going on. But yeah, let's head over to our program of the week. Program of the week. Okay, so our program of the week this week is a Paris program. I know, but this one is underrated in my opinion because it's just good. And that is Conti and Macchi from Italy and their free skate from the 2023 European Figure Skating Championships. Then there they skated to Cinema Paradiso by Ennio Morricone. This is so slow in the best way possible. I don't mean slow in a bad way. Like so languid and slow and so like perfect to the moment. This music, Cinema Paradiso, is very quite slow. It's operatic. It's very contemporary classical. You have to take it slow, and they take it so slow to the point where you feel that the story they're trying to tell is some tragic romance, some Romeo and Juliet, there's something troubling them. You can just find that vibe within them. But anyway, you can see them skate together, and quite literally, they are so angelic. In the beginning, their hand motions, he moves first while she's not moving, then she starts moving while he's not moving. It's beautiful. He picks her up. There's these transitions in this beginning part, and they really set the tone. I would say, like, the first 10 seconds of a program is really what captures the audience. I think that's really the main point of it. There could be amazing moments at the end of the program too, but the beginning of the program to me, I think is so important. And it's like looking at food. You can't eat the food without looking at it first. Like that's your immediate reaction. And this program, they do it so slow. It's languid. It's a story. They do have a couple of technical mistakes, but like who cares, honestly. Beautiful. My favorite part of this program, honestly, is the lifts. The very first lift, it goes by so fast. It's so beautiful to watch. And then at the very end, the transition out of it is Sarah Conti. She kind of knee slides out of the lift, and I think that's a super cool transition. And of course, it's right on the music because we love that. I just love their synchronicity, their style within it. They feel so connected. You don't even feel like they're two different skaters to me. I think the best part of this program has to be the choreo sequence because this has to be just one of the best choreo sequences I feel like for pairs. They do this spiral moment together. They're both spiraling at the same time and holding each other, and then there's this kind of moment where he lifts her up once, and she does kind of a side split, if that makes sense, and then they go right into their triple salchow throw, which is a beauty. The transition out of that throw is so fast. You can see the smiles on their faces. Um, I really enjoy that. What else do I enjoy the program? Just again, just like the storytelling of it. Their pair combination at the very end is so wistful. It's almost reflective how they look at each other. It's almost just like I think it's like one of those programs where there is just so much nuance and the focus is not on the technical elements necessarily. It does not feel like at all that it's just jumping and throws and lifts. It does feel like there is that story. It does feel like there is that wanting to be, I don't know, together, apart. I don't know what it is, guys, but it's a beautiful emotion. And at the very end, they hold each other in their ending pose and they are very happy with the program. And I think that's a great moment. So, yeah, if you're looking for a very beautiful pairs program that makes you think maybe, go check it out after this episode. Sarah Conti, Niccolo Macci of Italy skating at the 2023 Europeans with their free skate to Cinema Paradiso by Nina Morricone. Now it's time for our main episode. That was your program of the week. Okay, everybody, I kind of expect this episode to be a little bit shorter in the main part, mostly because it's a preview episode and not like competition like result overview episode, and I feel like I tend to talk more when we talk about results. Um But anyway, I would like to admit that yes, I do understand that today I am talking about the Grand Prix final for the 2025-2026 Olympic season. And yes, by the time you listen to this episode, the Grand Prix final is pretty much over. And I truly want to apologize for that because the time scheduling just doesn't work. Honestly, when I first started this podcast, I thought Saturdays was going to be the best day to upload, mostly because of school and my schedule and everything. And I still think it is the best time for me to upload personally. I do understand that competitions are often over the weekend, and it's just easier to preview a competition or review a competition like right after it happens. So if the competition ends on a Saturday, like, ideally, like I would have an episode done like the next day on Sunday, but that's just not really realistic for me and my schedule with school and everything. And I understand a lot of other, creators who talk about figure skating are able to do that, but me, like, personally, I just can't do that, and I deeply apologize for everyone who listens. Um, and so, yes, there are these really weird situations. I think last season this happened too, where I talked about a preview of the Grand Prix final when half of the events were already over, and I'm so sorry about that. Okay, literally so sorry. And this is really the only competition of the year that's like that. But obviously, as a whole, I would love to be able to, keep up with figure skating more concurrently, if that makes sense. And like, hey, competition ended, here's an episode next day. Competition ended, episode next day. Competition is about to begin, here's a preview right before it begins. Things like that. But every competition is different. This one, every competition might start on a Thursday, might start on Saturday. It just depends. And it would be, I think, very hectic for me to organize. I'm very sorry about that. I'm sorry, people. Okay. So don't hate me, but like literally Friday night is really the only time I really record. And Saturday at noon is really the only time I upload because I like to keep that consistent schedule. So anyway, yeah, I totally understand that like other creators are doing their previews like way before, and I understand that basically the competition will be over. But I am doing this episode as if I do not know the results. I already do know the results of one event, which is kind of bad, but we're not gonna talk about anything. Okay, we're gonna pretend that didn't happen. Anywho, this episode is about the Grand Prix final, which is happening in Nagoya, Japan, and I am very happy to go back to Japan. Japanese crowd is always amazing at these events. Japanese crowd is always so supportive of the skaters. Everyone knows us that like the crowd in Japan just loves figure skating more than anyone in the world, and I am all for that. And I love seeing them. Um, Prepare for a lot of chaos. Okay. Okay. Anyway, if you don't know what the Grand Prix final is, that is okay because I'm going to briefly explain it to you. The Grand Prix Final is the last competition in the Grand Prix series, the ISU Grand Prix series. So in the past 6 weeks, skaters have been skating in 6 events, and they have been competing for the best placements and points to earn their spot into the Grand Prix Final. And only 6 skaters in each discipline, men, women's, pairs, and ice dance, are able to qualify for this event. So it is the hardest competition to really qualify for, and it really reflects who the best in the world are. Um, and in this season is the Olympic season, of course. And in my opinion, this is really the most important event in the Olympic season because if you've qualified for this competition, you are clearly among the best in the world, and only the best in the world are really going to win that Olympic medal. And so this is a really good competition to really preview the Olympic season and shows who is really, 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 really in the running for medals there. Obviously, totally could happen that somebody who did not qualify for the Grand Prix final totally could win an Olympic medal. And figure skating is chaotic, but most likely somebody who does really well here at the Grand Prix final, someone who qualifies here, is gonna win an Olympic medal. Obviously, prepare for a lot of chaos because nothing I say in figure skating, nothing I say wants to go that I want to go right ever actually goes right in this sport, and you just gotta deal with that. You just gotta deal with it, and that's the issue, maybe. So yeah, hardest competition to qualify for out over the past 6 weeks. I have talked about Grand Prix de France, Cup of China, what was third? Skate Canada, NHK Trophy, Skate America, and Finlandia Trophy. And those 6 competitions went by like a whirlwind, and now we're in December, and I don't know what to do. I do not know what to do with my life in figure skating, okay? Um, so obviously, if you want to go back and look at what happened at each of those events, totally go listen to all my other episodes in these past 6 weeks that I've been talking about them. But let's talk about the Grand Prix final finally because I keep on yapping and I need to stop. Let's talk about each of the disciplines. So today I'm gonna review or preview the men's discipline, the women's discipline, the pairs discipline, and the ice dance discipline, and kind of discuss my predictions. Okay, emphasis on predictions because these are not I'm not hating on your favorite skater. I'm not no 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 no. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not hating on anyone. I am just saying what my personal opinion is based on facts, scores, and maybe a little bit of bias. I'm sorry. But I just want to say some things and I have opinions. So let's talk about these disciplines. I am only going to be covering the senior events. There is a junior Grand Prix final for junior skaters that I will not be covering, but go check out juniors too because juniors are awesome and it's great to support them. But let us start in the men's discipline. So I'm going to read them off from the top 6 based on who qualified from last to first. So in 6th qualification spot was Daniel Grazel of Italy. 5th was Mikhail Shaidarov of Kazakhstan. 4th was Adam Shabanfa of France. 3rd was Shun Sato of Japan. 2nd was Yuma Kageyama, also of Japan. And first was Ilya Malinin, also not also of Japan, from the USA. So very interesting dynamics here. The men's event is always chaotic, and I expect chaos in the men's event. If you have been on this podcast, you know I just it's men, and you don't know really ever what will happen in the men's field. You could have a prediction in place, and you will be totally wrong because it's men. Yeah. Okay. First, I want to talk about Daniel Grazel in 6th place. So my prediction for 6th place, sorry, is Daniel Grazel of Italy. And I am predicting this result because Daniel Grazel has not, in my opinion, and again, my opinion, I feel like he has been, unfortunately, one of the most inconsistent skater of this field. If we look at, for example, his scores, let's see. Ooh, that's not what I wanted. So he qualified to this event based on his showings at, let's see, based on his showings at Cup of China, where he was second, and then Skate America, where he was fifth. And there is like large, like, what's a good word to describe it? His scores are not the most consistent. So this season he's gone from 241 to 269 to 236. And so that is kind of showing you how, inconsistent Daniel Grazel can be. The main reason for that being his jumps. He is really, really ambitious with his jumps, going for quad lutzes, quad loops, quad toes, and those jumps are really worth a lot of base value. But I, in my opinion, I feel like Daniel Grazel has become one of the skaters that, unfortunately, the judges are kind of always looking out for his under rotations. He often doesn't land all his jumps super cleanly. It might look clean, but then they go back and they review. They say it's a quarter, it's an under rotation, and that's just a really unfortunate reality with Daniel Grazel skating. Is that I think the judges are, I don't know, they almost watch for certain skaters that have a big pattern of under rotations, and that's really Dion Grazel's main issue with scoring right now, low scores right now, is judging panel. And the judging panel can be inconsistent themselves as well. One competition might have a technical panel that is super strict and they're judging everything and they look for every little mark, they look for everything little thing. Another competition might have a totally different technical panel who is a lot more lenient. And so it really depends on the judging panel themselves. But in the case of Daniel Grousel, it's really the jumps that, they I think they look quite underrated when you watch them on TV and probably when you watch them live as well. What else? His two programs this season. His short program is what again? I can't remember what his short is. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry. Oh, his short is like the tango music. That's right. Yeah. And then his free skate is conclave about the Pope, selecting the Pope, and that program is genuinely interesting for sure. If that's a good word to use, it's an interesting program. Uh, yeah, it's an interesting program from Daniel Grazel, and yeah, a lot of people have had different feelings about it, like the whole Pope thing, the whole like ripping his shirt to reveal that he's the Pope. I don't know. Um, just yeah, but artistically, I do think, it is worth mentioning that there's been more diversity in his components recently, I feel like. There's almost been let me think. I almost feel like there has been a improvement in the flexibility sense of things. I remember last season, his Billy Elliot, and now this season with Conclave, trying to utilize more different elements in his skating, and I think that is quite, interesting. But I think the jumps are really what is unfortunately gonna be a detriment to him, and then that's why I'm putting Dion Grazel in sixth place. My prediction for fifth place is Adam Shahinfa of France. This might be a bit of a shock. I think Adam Shahinfa, not Dion Grazel. Adam Shahinfa qualified here fifth. He was second at Grand Prix uh, de France and then second also at the Finlandia Trophy. He's another example of a skater whose jumps unfortunately have kind of been up and down. He has really good showings at Grand Prix de France. But his scores this season internationally have been 244, 254, 280, 256. And, those scores are, again, like Daniel Grazel, a little inconsistent, but they have been higher than Daniel Grazel's scores, just like on the overall level. And that's really why I'm putting him in this space, in fifth place, because he definitely has the potential to be a spoiler in this Grand Prix final. And I think, he's scored in 300 before, which was a really great score for him. He has that potential to score really, really well. It just comes down to consistency and it comes down to landing the jumps. His jumping layout is also quite, he is going for four quads, I believe. The quadlets being one of them, quad toe, quad sal, and I think another quad toe. And I think often the jumps just aren't the most consistent for him. He'll step out quarters, and again, another skater where I feel like the judges are like looking, and I don't know. I feel like they're never like consistent, if that makes sense. I don't feel like it's the skaters' fault. Sometimes the judges are consistent with some skaters and not with others, and I don't know what it has to deal with. But just know I'm putting Adam Shaheen in fifth here because his scores overall are higher, maybe not consistent as again, but his scores are higher. And on a really good jumping day, on a really good day where he's able to get that quad lutz on especially and impress people with his backflip, he's a really good candidate for a really good medal in the mix. So I think it will depend for Adam Shaheen. My opinions on his two programs. His first one, the Leonardo da Vinci Vitruvian Man program, it's interesting. I know a lot of people didn't like the outfit, and it's interesting. It's a spray painted. It's cool. It's interesting. I like the music. I like his interpretation. I think Adam Shamfa has really diversified himself artistically. He's really distinguished himself. I would say he's really has his own Adam Shamfa style. His free skate to the creation of Adam is a really interesting concept as well. I like that one more than I think the short program. Very contemporary from him. Very, yeah, very contemporary in his skating. And so, yeah, that is my review of Adam Shamfa. Okay. In fourth place, I'm predicting Mikhail Shidorov of Kazakhstan, who has really been a big rocket in the field recently. He has really, not recently, but last season, he was a really big rocket in the field, qualifying in the Grand Prix Final, getting a silver medal at Worlds, and just very good results for him overall. This season, he has struggled a little bit more, but again, he was able to qualify here because of his third place at Cup of China and second place at Skate America. He started this season 282, 262, 251, and so downward trend in his jumps, but he has had a couple notable results. That very first competition, Dennis Ten Memorial in Kazakhstan, was a pretty decent competition for him. He has more difficult quads than the majority of the field. He's going for the quad lutz, the quad flip, the quad toe, that really interesting triple axel Euler quad style combination. When he's able to land those jumps, his positive grade of execution is quite high, I would say. The way he jumps, his technique in his jumping is something I think the judges often um, like a lot, and I think that is well awarded in that sense. Out of all of these skaters, I think he really is the one that tends to get the least amount of component score, the least amount of kind of artistry in his skating. And, I do agree he is not, maybe the most skating skills, composition, interpretation oriented skater. His jumps are very epic in the sense that they are going towards that technical limit, kind of breaking the technical limit, and he was really focused on that side of his skating. His short program, he switched from In the Air Tonight to Dune now, back to his Dune program from last season, so that's very interesting. His free skate, I will defend this free skate. I do enjoy this free skate for him. The Fifth Element soundtrack, I like it. I think it's a very quirky free skate. It is very theater kid in my opinion. And I like this free skate, and a lot of people don't like this free skate, and I'm just like, oh, okay. I like this free skate, and that's all that matters. I just think he needs. I don't know. I think people need to warm up a little bit to more, and hopefully he's able to have a really clean performance skating to it, and people will see like, wow, that was so amazing. And I think everyone will soon agree with me that it is very amazing. Yeah, Mikhail Shidorov in fourth place. My prediction for third place here is Shun Sato of Japan, who he qualified here by winning Cup of China, and then he was second at NHK Trophy. Shun Sato, what do I want to say about Shun Sato? Shun Sato is I don't know, how would I describe Shun Sato? He is A very good skater. He is very fast in his rotations, and that's really able to earn him a few points in graded execution based on just how fast he rotates in the air. His scores are fairly high, all above 250 this season internationally. Uh, a really again another skater with quite ambitious layouts. He let's see here at his most recent free skate in NHK Trophy, he went for 3 of those quads and landed all 3 gluts and 2 quad toes, so really good results for him. And I think Shinsato has improved artistically as well. I feel like I'm saying the same thing for every skater. I literally hate myself. What do I wanna say about Shinsato skate? He is quite I don't know, almost I feel like his attention to music is a very focused kind of concentration to the music, and I do feel like the skaters the judges really appreciate that. His ladies and lavender shirt program is quite soft and pleasant. His Firebird free skate has all the right energy that I think Firebird needs, that Firebird deserves. And I really do enjoy that Firebird, that very intense version of Firebird. So really able to, provide, kind of both sides. I think he's a very I think out of all these skaters, I do feel like he is the most classically trained, if that makes sense. I feel like he has a very classical style of skating almost. Aside from like the very crazy quick jump technique, he's so classically trained in a sense. I feel like he has that attention and detail in his skating, and I do enjoy it from Shun Sato. And based on his technical scores, I think he's gonna get third here. And second, I am going with the other Japanese skater Yuma Kagiyama. I think Yuma Kagiyama after his results here, he was, let's see, Yuma Kageyama was first at the NHK Trophy and first at Grand Prix Finland. He has had pretty decent scores. He had 285, 287, and then 270. So, really good scores. He has been in the 300s before. His best is a 310, which is a really impressive result, of course, at 310. And that 310, let's see, was at the Olympics. And so, getting closer to the Olympics now, getting closer to that event. But Yuma Kayama is a really good skater in the skating skills. I think he has had dramatic improvement, honestly, in his skating skills. I think he started working with Carolina Costner, who is a very legend. She's one of my favorites. And his skating skills have improved so much. His performance has improved so much. His jumps are really good. He has that quad sal at the beginning of his free skate. So good. His jumping layout is not the most difficult of the men, but he's able to really make up for that in that really high posijui and really good jumping technique that, you know, the judges just absolutely love. He has amazing skating skills, and so a really good showing from Yuma Kageyama. The only way the other men can really beat him is that if they have more difficult layouts, they are able to execute very successfully and they're able to make up for not having maybe as high components as Yuma does. But very high results from Yuma Kagiyama, who's, I think, a very good layout in his skate, very more consistency than some of the other skaters, and good, good values. I don't know, man. Anyway, second is Yuma Kayama. In first place, I am going to predict Ilya Malinin of the USA, the quad god. This one is almost like a no-brainer. Not Yuma. My brain today, oh my gosh. Ilya Malinin has been undefeated this season. He was first at Grand Prix France with a 321, and then first at Skate Canada with a 333, with his world record free skate of 228. No other man, I believe, this season has gone over 300. At all 3 competitions he's been to, he has scored 300, which is absolutely insane. And so he is pretty much unbeatable. I don't know if he's gonna go for a quad axle here. I don't know what his deal is, but he has gone for quad after quad after quad, and it's just so impressive what Ilya Malinin is really able to do. So he's really gone for a very ambitious layout, and he's gotten most of his jumps clean. Now, I will say, some people point out that, oh, that looked under rotated, that looked blank. And I think if the judges look very closely, they are maybe able to point out a few under rotations in his skating here and there. Um, that do occur. And, a very interesting point there, I guess. Last Grand Prix final, I remember that happened. A lot of under rotations of his were called, and that did bring down his score, but he still won overall. And so I guess it does depend, but just based on the trajectory of this season, he has scored 300 at every competition. He's done, at least 5 quads in his free skate at every competition or something. Like, it's crazy statistics, and he's just purely unbeatable because really the math of and how that really works in this sport, if that makes sense. So I think first I'm gonna put Elaine Molina. His skates this season are like it's very him, and yeah, I like his free skate. The spoken word is interesting, but I think the theme is interesting too. Okay, time for the women's discipline. The women's discipline here. Okay, let's talk about the alternates. The alternates for the Grand Prix final were Brady Tennell of the USA, Anastasia Gubanova of Georgia, and Isabel Levito of the USA as well. And then your 6 qualifiers were Rinka Watanabe of Japan, Amy Nakai of Japan, Alyssa Liu of USA, Amory Glenn of the USA, Kari Sakamoto of Japan, and Moni Chiba of Japan. So 4 Japanese skaters, 2 American skaters really demonstrates um, how dominant those 2 countries are in our sport in the women's discipline. Okay, let's talk about it. These women, I could put them anywhere. I know I will get this order wrong no matter what. I'm never gonna get this order right. I think everyone would be kind of mad at me either way, whatever way I did it. Honestly, I'm looking at this now and I kind of want to change it. I don't know. I kind of want to change it. Should I change it? I don't know, but I made these predictions last week, so let's blame it on last week, Van Gogh, for making these bad predictions. In 6th place, I am predicting Rinka Watanabe. Rinka Watanabe qualified here with her 3rd place result at Cup of China and her 2nd place result at Skate America, and she is a really big joy in the ice. I feel like she, has really had a good Grand Prix season. Before the Grand Prix season, she had a couple, okay results. She was scoring internationally 189, 164 before the Grand Prix, and then at the Grand Prix 198 and then 210, which is a really big improvement. I am putting her in 6th place because she isn't the most consistent skater, especially because she is going for ambitious technical layout with her triple axel. She does 1 in the short program, 2 in the free skate. It is quite ambitious to attempt those elements, of course. High risk, high reward is really her strategy. And, on the Grand Prix this season, she's been pretty successful with the triple axels. Not the most successful or anything, not the most like cleanest ever, but decent results. Decent results for Rinka Watanabe. She's had undertations and quarters and falls on the triple axels, but you know. It really comes down to the rotations for her. The triple axels, if they're landed clean, which can maybe be a struggle. If they're landing clean, they are landed well. You better trust that they are landed well. They're landed very well. And they get really good Jewy. And it really just kind of depends on if everything kind of works out in the jumping category. Artistically, I do think she has a very fierce flair to her skating that I do enjoy. I do like her short program too. Moulin Rouge, and her free skate is to a Japanese movie called Jin, and I really enjoy those skates from her. I think they have the right amount of intensity that I associate her skating with, and yeah, I really enjoy it. But it's gonna be the jumps that really decide everything, and unfortunately, she hasn't been the most consistent this season with the jumps, and so we'll see how it plays out for her. We will definitely see. Okay. In 5th place at the Grand Prix final, this might be a shock, but I'm just gonna say it. In 5th place, I think 5th place will be Alyssa Liu of the United States. She is the current world champion. She is such a strong skater. Alyssa Liu this season, she qualified to the Grand Prix final with her 2nd place at Cup of China, her 1st place at at Skate America. This season internationally, she's been 197, 212, and then 214. So, very good upward trend there. She is really, 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 you know, a really strong skater. And she's a really, really strong skater. And I think her fifth place here, I don't know, honestly. I don't know why I put her in fifth place. I feel it. I'm sorry. I love Alyssa Lusking so much, and I think it's gonna come down to rotations at this competition, honestly. This competition, there's so many women with so many similar technical elements. They're all going for the hardest technical elements that they can, and it might come down to under rotations, and she, has had a few under rotation calls over this season in the short program with the triple S triple loop, for example, quarters, under rotations, small things like that that unfortunately bring down her GOE. And I do think that perhaps that is going to affect her skating, that not her skating, it's going to affect her scores in the overall long run, compared to some of the other skiers with a lot more technical elements like the triple axel that, might be under rotated, but they still have a higher base value. They might get a little bit negative GOE, but they still add up in the end. And I don't know, but I do think Alyssa Liu has that advantage, when she's able to land very clean jumps, very, very clean jumps. She has good Jui on those jumps, and her spins are wonderful as well. Her programs this season, I think, are wonderful. Doing Promise by Leve in the short, doing MacArthur Park by Donna Summer in the free. I love these programs for her. I think it'll come down to rotations, and unfortunately, like technical base value isn't as high in her programs as some of the other skiers. And yeah, but a very clean, consistent Alyssa will be a lot of these skaters if those other skaters aren't as clean. So I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. I think Alyssa Liu will get fifth place in this competition, which might be crazy, but I don't know. I'm sorry. In fourth place, I'm predicting the Japanese newcomer Amy Nakai, who burst out of kind of nowhere, honestly, and she really just took the stage. She was a junior last season, but this season she is a senior. This season she qualified at the Grand Prix Final with a first place at Grand Prix de France and a third place at Skate Canada. She was this season internationally, she's been a 206, she's been a 227, she's been a 203. And so obviously that 227 is going to be the score I'm kind of banking on. At that 227 was remarkable, and the one of the high, I think the highest is that the highest we've seen this season from any skater on at this competition. I don't know. Oh no, we've seen a little bit higher from one of the other skaters, but Amy Nakai, that result was really, really strong. And I don't know why. I just have that feeling that this competition for Amy Nakai, she is really gonna land those triple axels. She does attempt one in the short program, and she attempts one as well in the free skate. And I don't know why. I think her triple axels. I think those are. I don't know why, but I just feel like Amy Nakai will get fourth here. Honestly, I don't know what I was thinking with the women. I think I was a little confused on where to put everyone, but I just think that big stardom push out from Grand Prix de France, and then Skate Canada wasn't as good. There were more mistakes at Skate Canada. Um, I don't know why. I guess I'm kind of fixated on that Grand Prix de France result. I'm just like, I think she's gonna do it. I don't know why. That result was so crazy to me, and she skated so so well. And I don't know. I think Amy Nakai will get fourth here. And yeah, she is a newcomer to the field, but qualifying here at the Grand Prix Final just is very evident of just how strong she is as a skater, just how amazing her scores have been to be able to reach that point, even if she's a first year senior. Okay, starting in the not starting in starting on the podium now. In third place, I'm predicting Kaori Sakamoto of Japan, and I'm predicting this result for Kaori Sakamoto, who qualified here for the Grand Prix final with a second place in France and a first place in Japan. Honestly, I don't know. Again, guys, that's the like the thing with me. I just don't know. This season internationally, she has scored a 203, a 224, and a 227. Honestly, now I'm thinking about it, she should be first. I don't know, guys. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I'm putting Kaori Sakamoto in third either, because her scores have been higher. Um, I think my justification for that is that there is no justification, it's only feeling. What ghost possessed me when I made these results for the women? I don't know. Just saying, I just feel like Harry Styles is gonna be third. I don't know why. I just feel like she is. Her skates this season have been pretty solid. Yes, she is susceptible to those few quarter calls, a few maybe a pop at one competition or two, but otherwise she has really been solid, and she has been really solid over the past few seasons. She's been the dominant women's skater over the past few seasons, of course, ever since the last Olympics. And excuse me, and she continues to show that she is a really strong skater. I don't know. I really don't know why I'm putting her in third. But I just feel like it's third for Kaori Sakamoto, and I don't know why. I'm sorry. Okay, I like her programs too, especially her short program is really built on me. Time to say goodbye. And second place is Amber Glenn, who is I am very biased towards. Of course, she's my favorite, and maybe that's why I'm putting her in second. I'm sorry, that's a really bad thing to say. Just know this: these predictions are biased, and I know they're not right anyway, so it's fine. Amber Glenn qualified here to the Grand Prix final with a first place at Cup of China and a second place at Finlandia Trophy. This season, she has been 214, 214, and 213. So the most consistent of the women's skaters in that range. And she has not had, I think, she hasn't had a super clean skate. She has, I think if she has a super clean skate in the free, especially, she can really reach up to 220. So the fact that she's been able to be quite consistent with these scores at the 214, 213 range, without having super duper clean programs is really testament to that skating. And if she's able to get two clean programs done, which I feel like she is going to be able to do at the Grand Prix final, I think that she's going to win. I don't know why. But I think second place, I don't know. Again, I don't know. It's just feelings. I'm sorry. I love Amber Glenn though, so maybe that's I just know. I don't know. Sorry. I don't know, guys. I'm sorry. And again, I love her skate. So her short program to Like a Prayer is really good. Her free skate to like I can't remember the name of the song now. The Return is really good. And yeah, Emery Glenn in second. In first place, though, I'm predicting Monet Chiba. And I know a lot of people are like, Monet Chiba? Like, really? Like, you think so? I'm like, yeah, I think so. Because Monet Chiba is the queen of consistency to the point where I just feel like Monet Chiba is gonna win. She qualified here with a first place at Skate Canada and another first place at Finlandia Trophy. Those two scores were 0.01 apart. So that just shows you how strong she is. This season internationally, she's been 216, 213, 217, 217. So she is really, really consistent most of the time. And she has really good programs most of the time. And if she's able, I don't know why, I just think the judges are gonna award her because she has been so squeaky clean, so squeaky, mostly consistent that I expect a very high score, and I don't know why. I'm just gonna say that for Monichi, but her short program to Donna Summer is quite nice. Her free skate to Romeo and Juliet, I love so much. So yeah, I think I'm gonna put her in first because vibes, feelings. I don't really know what the reason is, but that's my. I'm gonna be wrong. I'm sorry. Don't hate me. Okay, now we're back for the pairs, and the pairs are genuinely the field that I know the least about, and so I don't know, but I do watch the pairs if I can, and the pairs. This is the top six that I do think will be the top six of the Olympics as well. I don't like these are the top six that are very much the top six in the world, and I really do believe that. So starting with the qualifiers the alternates in the pairs. Third alternate was Efimova Mitrofanov of the USA. Kamino Shea were the second alternates in the USA, and Sui and Han were the first alternates from China, which was very surprising since they've been retired for 4 seasons. But oh my gosh, this sport was chaotic this season. Okay, sixth qualifier. The qualifier in sixth place was Pavlova Tsiatchenko of Hungary. Slato and Deschamps of Canada were in fifth. Medelkina Barulava in fourth. Hase Volodin in third, Konti Machi in second, Mira Kihara in first. And so, in my opinion, I think in sixth place will be Pavlova and Sviatchenko of Hungary. Um, and I don't really know what my reasoning is. Just that they have had, the lower they do have the lowest personal best of all the skiers. And I just think, they qualify here with a third at France, a second in Japan. They are really quite good. They haven't been able to really put down two clean as a whistle programs. And the judges give them really good GOE on the technical elements, but when it comes to the components, they aren't as strong as some of the other teams in the components. And so that really does unfortunately kind of lower their scores in both the programs in the short and the free. And so, from a component standpoint, unfortunately, I do think Pavlo Siatchenko are on, maybe not the same level as the top teams that, components wise they are higher, but technical wise Pavlo Siatchenko has some of the best technical elements in the world when they are done cleanly. I think the judges are quite impressed with them. And so they really want to look for that clean technical side in order to put themselves in a position for a medal here. I know I am talking about pairs quite fast because I don't really know a lot. I'm sorry. In fifth place, I'm thinking Salado Deschamps of Canada, and they have not. Sorry, they've had an interesting season. They were second at France, first in Canada to qualify here. Scores this season 199, 197, 213, 194. So kind of up and down. And if they're able to score that 213, if they're able to score in that 213 range or even higher, obviously would be amazing because, really top teams in the world, closer to 15, 220s, that kind of thing. I think Salah and Deschamps will be quite set for a medal, or at least very much put themselves in that running. Unfortunately, maybe their scores have not been, the most consistent over this season. Side by side jumps, I think have been the main thing with them is the side by side jump struggles. But if they're able to get side by side jumps done, if they're able to get all the throws done cleanly, and their lifts are a really strong element, that's the highlight of them as a pair is their lifts. And so it'll be really interesting where they end up here. Yeah, Slot Deschamps, I'm predicting fifth. For fourth place, I'm predicting the Georgian Metlakina Barulava. And I just think Metlakina Barulava, I think that they are super, super strong technically. And they have had a few mistakes kind of, seep into the programs. This season, they qualified to the final via first at Cup of China, second in the US. And really the main thing in the US, their free skate at Skate America, I did watch live and it was quite unfortunate to watch, abandoning one of the lists, unfortunately, a fall on the side by side jumps was not the skate they were looking for. But if, for example, they get a skate like they skated at the Trialetti Trophy before the Grand Prix season where they scored 225, that's a giant score. And they will likely win, not likely win if the other teams do well, but just very, very strong scores if they're able to get a 225 and, very monstrous throws, monstrous twists, very huge elements that get huge Dewey. Again, maybe the components are not the strongest for this team, but Metlakina Barilava are quite strong in the technical side, and that makes them a vicious threat against the rest of the field. In third prediction, for my third place prediction, I'm being Conti and Machi from Italy. I think Conti and Machi from Italy are a very solid team. They were the program of the week this week. I think their skating skills are quite excellent. I think their attention to detail is quite excellent in the artistry, and I think it pays off there for artistry for them. This season, they qualified to the final via a second in China and a first in Japan. They were this season internationally 215, 201, 209, 208. So, some, ish inconsistency in those scores. But again, if they're able to score 208s, 215s, things like that, if they're able to score that, they have a uh, very good thing going for them. I think this season they throws have been a bit of a struggle for them, or kind of like all around, just one or two errors every program that kind of throw off their score that, their score could be a little higher on that element, but still really good skaters. Conti and Machi are really good. I love their skating. We'll see where they end up as well in terms of everything. And we'll see how everything kind of ends up, how everything uh plays out, and yeah, we'll see. We'll see, people. We always will see, right? Okay, let's see. And then second place, I'm predicting the Germans, Hasse and Volodin, who have such a strong partnership. They have been fairly consistent this season. They qualified here to the Grand Prix final via a second place in Canada and a first place in Finland. And this season, I think what really was impressive was their result in Finland, where in the short they did not have that death spiral done, but still they got first in the short program, which maybe was a result I didn't really agree with, but they were still able to win despite having an element that, did not get executed at all in the short program. Which speaks to the quality, of course, of their other elements. Their other elements have such a high quality that they're able to really, make a few mistakes here or there that are able to make up. This season internationally, they've been 221, 208, 207, 206. And so if they're able to get 221 again at Neville Horn Trophy, at this competition, they again very much in the running, and so that really points out how chaotic pairs is. The last team I'm predicting is Miura and Kihara. I think Japan. I think they will get first here because I just think they've been the best of all of the teams this season in terms of scores, consistency, things like that. They qualify here with first at France and the Skate America. They were 222 this season, 221, 219, 215. And so those are the highest scores of all the teams this season. I think that's really the reason why they tend to be the most consistent. They tend to have the best components in the field. They tend to have the best technical elements in the field. And so if they're able to again put it all together and get those higher scores like they have over the rest of the field, I think they will. They should be the victors. And now we move on to ice dance. The alternates in ice dance were in third Loporeva Brissot, second Guignard Fabry, which I don't agree with, first Lejoie Laga, which I also don't really agree with, and the six qualifiers were Zingis and Kolesnik of the USA, Reed and Bulevicius of Lithuania in fifth, Gilles Poirier of Canada in fourth, Fear Gibson of Great Britain in third, Fournier Baudry Cizeron in second, and Chalk and Bates in first. Ice Dance this season has had quite its drama. It will depend on judging a lot because technical panels this season have not been messing around in the ice dance. They've literally been calling every element. They've been marking bad Jewy. They've been marking all the base levels, all the level ones in the world, and they're just like, no. This is a very unexpected qualifier field to me. It will be very interesting how the field turns out. But among these results, in sixth place, I'm going to predict Reed and Blevicius from Lithuania. And I don't know if this is a good, thing to say or not. Like my prediction, because I know people are really no. And okay. They qualify here with a third in France, a second in Canada. Their scores have been this season internationally a 197, a 198, a 201, and 200. And kind of on the lower end of the ice dance field here in the 200s, but not in like the 205s maybe, or to the 210s maybe. Still, these scores can be quite competitive. This season ice dance scoring has been crazy, and these scores are very close to the top, and maybe with a little, I don't know, a little Jewy, levels that are higher maybe than some of the other teams. I think they really could reach that upper level. Yeah. And then in fifth place, I'm predicting Zingis and Kolesnik of the US, who have had a really huge resurgence this season. Not resurgence, almost like revival this season. They qualified here with a second in China, a third in Finland. Their scores this season have been 192, 202, 196. And so, a lot more differentiation than Reed and Blevicius had. I think the fifth, sixth is going to be really close between those two teams. They are a really good team together. That 2-2 of Cup of China, I thought their performances there were quite excellent performances, and it's gonna be really interesting where that all plays out. My voice. Okay. And in fourth here, I'm predicting Fionn Gibson of Great Britain. They qualified here in with a second in France, a first in Japan. Season this score this score scores scores this season have been 201, 210, 205. And so, yeah, 201 to 210 is obviously a quite a big range. But if they're able to get, those 210s, which is a really impressive, result, I think they will push pretty far. That has really been mostly the top of ice dance this season, 210 and over. I think Fear and Gibson are quite set. Okay. And then let's see. Let's see. In In third place now? Are we on third place? Yeah, we're in third place. In third place, I am going to predict the team of Gillis and Poitier of Canada. They have had, not the best season on the Grand Prix, and I think it is really due to judging, but we will see how the judging kind of ends up at this competition. They were first in Skate Canada, second in in Finlandia Trophy. They have been 202 and then another 202, so 202 has really been their general scoring. They had one really good rhythm dance at Canada and then one really good free dance in Finland. If they're able to put both of those things together, a rhythm and a good free dance, I think that they will really be, uh, a big threat. And I think they already kind of are a big threat. And I think they're just getting a little underscored in my opinion. I'm sorry, but again, ice dance is so subjective. Like I can't, guys. Like no, yeah. In second place, I'm gonna place Fournier and Baudry Cizeron because they have had a really big push this season in their first season together. They were first in France and then first in Finland as well. They have had mistakes. Those rhythm dances have not looked pretty for them, maybe as some of the other teams. A fall in their career rhythm sequence in France and then uh in Finland, they had that kind of weird result with the exclamation point and the rhythm. I don't know. Their free dances have been quite good. In France, they just blew the field out of the water with a clean program. It was shocking to see, in my opinion. But I think they're gonna get second here. First place, though, I think cannot be denied. Maybe I think from the U.S. team of Madison Chalk and Evan Bates, they were first in China and first at Ski America for to qualify here to the Grand Prix final, and their scores were 208 and then 212. Highest scores again, just a general trend of me putting the highest scoring skiers who are mostly consistent in the highest tier. Their free dance, I think their free dance is getting better, and I think the judges will really appreciate that. Their free dance is Peanut Black, not weird, but interesting flamenco tango, Peanut Black, and I think a lot of people were interested by it, and I was interested by it, but I think I enjoyed it more and more as I got to watch it, and I think that's gonna be the case. It's gonna be one of those programs that grows on the audience as much as it grows on the judges, and I think judges will appreciate it. Next week will be okay. Sorry, everybody, but that's all for this episode of a Teen Talking podcast. I feel like every single piece of energy in my brain has been drained, and now I just want to go sit down and watch skating. But next week's episode will be a review of the Grand Prix final, obviously, as this competition ends. And a lot of it will be interpreting towards Olympic results and what will happen at the Olympics. Hey. And so a lot of it will be kind of interpreting towards the Olympics and where I feel those results will go, where I feel those results will happen, and what we can tell from these Grand Prix results, what people are what people are going to see at the Olympics and what results we might have at the Olympics. And everything will be super subjective, obviously. And everything will have a little bit of bias from me. But we will see. I think this competition is going to be chaotic as heck. And obviously, we cannot end with enough chaos in this Olympic season. So it'll be very interesting to see. But yeah, please follow, share, like Spotify says. I'm sorry for having to say that, but that's what they want from me. And I will see you next week in the Teen Tuscany podcast. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Teen Tuscany podcast. I will hear from you next week as we review over the Grand Prix final. And bye bye.